Accent Podcast.
What's good with y'all today on this beautiful Friday, man? I hope you're enjoying your time. I hope you had a great Juneteenth that you celebrated. And I wanted to create this so I could add to the historically speaking playlist on the channel because I celebrate us, I prioritize us, I like to learn about us, I like to help us evolve. I want to see our people unify and everything. And, it's just that we can't celebrate a day. We have to learn every day. We can't celebrate Black History Month for a month and then move on. We have to celebrate every month and every day. And I prioritize us, man. But I'm not one person that just because I prioritize us, I'm not a traveled man. I'm very well versed in multiple cultures. I like multiple cultures. I like going to other countries and seeing what they got going on and things. So I'm a person that respects the human race, but I prioritize my race, the Black people in the United States of America. So let's get into the conversation, man. What did y'all do on Juneteenth? I was working, man. I had to go get the money and just focus on me, my family, and make sure that I'm getting to the bread so I can be able to provide, protect, and produce for my household. So, what did y'all do? Tell me what y'all did, man, in the comment section. I want to know, where did y'all go celebrate, and was it somewhere in a park and everybody was together? Did y'all go to a meeting or something, or somebody had a conversation that could, you know what I mean, energize people to want to contribute to more? So just let me know that in the comment section. I would appreciate it. But one thing, I seen my homeboy make this post, and I don't even be on Facebook much because I actually hate Facebook, to be honest with you now. But I seen my brother post this, man. And when he posted this, I was like, damn, Trump going crazy like that. I support Trump in some of his actions, and I don't support him in a lot of his actions. But when he said this was interesting to me though, because why is he targeting Black people? He said too many non-working holidays in America. It's costing our country billions of dollars to keep all of these businesses closed. Like I said at the beginning, I was at work. I don't know. Yesterday, the traffic was bad. It seemed like everybody was outside. What businesses was closed? The federal businesses, schools. Well, school is out. It's closed regardless. But is it costing us billions of dollars to keep federal businesses closed? The workers don't want it either. Why they don't want it on Juneteenth? Because it's a holiday celebrating Black. Soon we'll end up having a holiday for every once working day of the year. It must change if we are going to make America great again. You know, the federal workers do have a lot of time off, a whole lot of time off. And this country does need to get back to work. People don't want to work. Everybody is lazy now. When COVID hit, people started working from home. They don't want to go outside. People don't want to work with their hands. We Black folk done started acting like the white people. I know I'm talking about Black, and I'm getting ready to play this video of watching history repeats itself. But we done start acting like white folk. I don't want to get out there and do this and that. I don't want to do this. We spoil. Just to be honest with you, we spoil. But what Trump is saying there is kind of disrespectful to me. It's very disrespectful. Let me look at it again, man. It's costing the country billions of dollars. That's the disrespect right there. Because didn't last week he throw himself a $45 million birthday party in DC and put it up under a military parade, saying it was a military parade celebration? Why we, when I was looking at that too, I was thinking, oh man, something about to go down. Something about to go down. He's celebrating himself and bringing the military out to showcase to the world that we strong. Oh, it was nasty. But if we get into a war, that'll be billions of dollars. We was just funding the Ukraine war with Biden, 60 billion a month. And you sitting up here complaining about a holiday celebrating Black because people at home from work. Well, when you should do something to prioritize black people, because a lot of those workers that was off wasn't black that got those federal jobs. The black people was at work getting to the money so they can continue to provide because it's a financial divide in the country. Now, we was talking about the military and the funding of the military. The National Guard, how much is that costing to send those folks to California to deploy them against the Mexicans, against the illegal migrants, to get them the hell up out of here? To be honest with you, and I ain't even in disagreement to that. But the National Guard was deployed on your own citizens during a historical event back in the days. This isn't new. What is happening to the migrants in LA? This has happened before with us. Let me play the video. Let's get into it.
When World War II finally ended, millions of American veterans returned home, eager for stability, prosperity, and a chance to rebuild their lives. The GI Bill promised just that in free education, access to home ownership, and economic opportunities more generous than anything the nation had ever seen. It was a revolutionary law that basically reshaped America's middle class, creating success stories that continue to inspire. However, beneath this celebrated legacy are countless black veterans who were promised prosperity but only faced the painful reality of discrimination and lost opportunities. So join us today while we discuss the untold story of how the GI Bill left black servicemen behind. And if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. If you like audio-only episodes, you can find those episodes wherever you find your podcasts. But without further ado, let's get started. June 1944, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed into law the Servicemen's Readjustment Act, known as the GI Bill. This groundbreaking legislation aimed to recognize and reward millions of veterans returning home for World War II. Its primary purpose was to help returning servicemen smoothly transition back into civilian life. The idea behind the GI Bill was simple: to reward millions of Americans who risked their lives during World War II and ensure that returning veterans didn't encounter the same chaotic post-war conditions that they had faced during World War I. See, the GI Bill originated from political tensions during the 1920s and 1930s, sparked by conflicts between World War I veterans and the government over delayed and insufficient benefit payments, specifically post-life insurance policy payouts. Determined to prevent these problems from reoccurring, policymakers planned early into World War II for a smooth transition of millions of servicemen back into civilian life. The groundwork of the GI Bill was laid by the American Legion, which was a nationwide organization established during World War I. The Legion strongly advocated for expansive, immediate support of returning soldiers. Two key figures transformed the Legion's ambitious vision into reality: former Illinois Governor Henry Steele and former American Legion National Commander Harry W. Comrie. Steele was often called the father of the GI Bill, tirelessly rallied support and guided the bill through political challenges. And Comrie famously wrote down the original draft of the legislation at Washington's Mayflower Hotel, outlining core benefits, including educational assistance. Early on, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was initially hesitant to support broad veteran benefit programs, favoring a more targeted approach such as employment assistance. His position shifted in late 1944 when his representative Ann Rosenberg returned from conversations with American troops overseas. Rosenberg reported that servicemen expressed a strong desire for not just stable employment, but educational opportunities that had never before been envisioned. Deeply influenced by these findings, Roosevelt was firmly committed to including educational and vocational assistance in the final versions of the legislation. The resulting GI Bill became a landmark piece of bipartisan legislation, with leaders from both parties playing a central role. Under the GI Bill, World War II veterans who had served honorably for at least 90 days received unprecedented support. Benefits included low-cost home mortgages, affordable loans to start a business or a farm, and up to 1 year of employment compensation up to $20 a week. And the most significant, federally funded tuition and living expenses for high school, vocational, or a college or university. So by 1948, the GI Bill accounted for an astonishing 15% of the entire federal budget, with the government spending more than $95 billion from 1944 to 1971 on veterans benefits. By the mid-50s, an incredible 7 million returning veterans had utilized their educational benefits, 2.2 had attended college or university, while 5.6 completed vocational training. In practice, the legislation represented an extraordinary investment in returning servicemen and women, making educational and economic opportunities accessible to millions of Americans. As a result, it dramatically reshaped American society by facilitating upward mobility and enabling millions of veterans and their families to join and strengthen the American middle class. However, and this is a big however, probably one of the biggest howevers I've done on this channel. However, the GI Bill had a dark side. Rooted firmly in systemic racism, despite 1 million black veterans bravely serving their country during World War II, the promise of prosperity and opportunity offered by the GI Bill largely excluded them, reinforcing rather than reducing the economic inequalities that they would continue to face during this time. At first glance, the GI Bill looked extremely neutral. It didn't explicitly exclude black veterans, but the bill's architect intentionally allowed states full control over the distribution of benefits, primarily to appease Southern politicians committed to segregation. Congressmen like John Rankin from Mississippi, who was a staunch segregationist, who oversaw veterans affairs, made sure that federal oversight stayed weak, and this directly placed control into the hands of state and local officials who could, and often did, discriminate against black veterans. One of the GI Bill's most crucial provision was low-cost home loans that were guaranteed by the federal government, often requiring no down payment. This ushered millions of white veterans into middle-class suburbia, building generational wealth at a scale that had never been seen before. But loans were heavily dependent on the bank's cooperation at a local level, and the banks at the time were infamous for denying home loans to African Americans, veteran or not. For example,
I gotta stop it, man, because this is crazy. This to me is another reason why reparations is a debt that is owed. It is not a handout from the government. If a white person watches this episode, it is not a payment you owe, because I see y'all in the comment section of my shows talking about who gonna pay it out. I'm not gonna contribute to none of this. Kiss ass at the end of the day. To be honest with you, to go fight wars. This is a question that I pose in the comment section. Should black people fight in American wars still? And I'm not saying don't enlist in the military, because enlisting in the military is good to get the benefits out of the military if you can. The free education, the retirement in a few years, and all of that old type of stuff. Uh, the low price of things, and just getting the benefits. But until we're compensated, should we continue to fight in wars where we're not getting compensated and they not giving us reparations? They not making anything specific for us. They didn't include us in the GI Bill. They let the states control the funding, the finances, and they created generational wealth for themselves by the lowest cost mortgage, the affordable loans, sometimes zero down payment to be able to get the loans. They contributed 15% of the federal budget. So 15% of the federal budget in totality at that time, that's a hell of a lot of money, man. There was promised prosperity, and they didn't even get a opportunity to prosper. Imagine how much generational wealth that would have created. It's so many things that we can talk about that hindered us from creating generational wealth. It's crazy. It's crazy. When they tore down communities and all of that in a multitude of places, people only talk about Black Wall Street, but it happened in North Carolina and Wilmington. It happened in Florida also, in St. Petersburg. It happened in a multitude of places where communities was being tore down. They also got free labor from individuals. They didn't include us in anything prosperous prospering. When we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion and all of that, that is not specific for black people. That's specific for all people that feels less than, and it benefited white women and transgenders more than it benefited black people. We talk about civil rights, them integrating us with them actually benefited them more than it benefited us, because now you got us working for you for lower wages and you benefiting out of it. When we talk about welfare, more of them get welfare at the end of the day. And to be able to get welfare, you got to remove the man out the house that is dissipating the family structure. So everything that America has done and has created federally, it was some underhanded bullshit to keep people hindered. And I know what it's going to take, and I don't want to speak about it on this episode. I know what it's going to take, but let's continue to play the video. Let's listen to a little bit more because he's getting the cooking. And make sure y'all go subscribe to this brother channel. He got some dope content too. I'm going to put a link in the description to his channel.
Example, in the entire state of Mississippi in 1947, out of 3,200 VA back home loans, only 2 of them were issued to black veterans. Similarly, in places like New York and northern New Jersey, fewer than 100 out of 67,000 GI Bill backed mortgages went to non-white veterans. Nationally, less than 3% of the 1 million black GIs who proudly served this nation during World War II received home ownership benefits that they had earned through their sacrifice. Additionally, housing discrimination at the time also reinforced these practices by redlining. Redlining was a financial system backed by federal institutions like the Federal Housing Administration, which labeled black neighborhoods as too risky for investment. When federal policies intersected with local segregationist policies and banking discrimination, it resulted in a locked door against veterans. Even new suburban developments like Levittown, which was a symbol of post-war prosperity, explicitly banned African Americans through racial covenant, blocking veterans from the single greatest source of post-war wealth, home ownership. In education, too, black veterans also encountered countless roadblocks. Yes, the GI Bill revitalized America's higher education, and many white veterans attended prestigious universities and gained vocational training, smoothly transitioning into lucrative careers. But for black veterans, segregation meant there were fewer opportunities or choices. Southern states maintained complete racial exclusion at many universities, and in the North, universities imposed racial quotas or informal practices that drastically reduce black applicants' acceptance rates. As the result, 95% of black veterans using the GI Bill's educational benefits attended historically black college or university. These institutions were also chronically underfunded and short on resources. They would find themselves with a flood of applications and were forced to turn away thousands of qualified black veterans simply because they lacked the space and the funding. Also, when black veterans sought employment assistance from the federal government, another benefit promised by the GI Bill, they would liberally direct it towards low-paying.
I apologize, man. If y'all want to go check out the rest of this video, go to One Mic History. What they didn't want you to know about the GI Bill. That is dark. That is extremely dark. And violence, fear, and a lack of resources is how these people kept their power, hindering their own people. And it ain't just black folks. They're hindering white people also, because they don't know who they are. They receive more of the assistance than us, but they get assisted in other ways just because of their color and their skin and stuff, though. But this is sad, dog. This is real sad. I appreciate y'all tuning in to my show. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, help me elevate this thing, man. If you want to leave a donation, you see below me, Wavy Neutron. If you enjoyed the content, just send whatever your heart tell you, man. $1, $2, $100, whatever suits you. I'm very appreciative of everybody that support me. Thank you so much, man, for tuning into the show. Peace, love, plenty abundance. Make sure you go get you some money, and I'm gone.
Is the definition of freedom, justice, and equality for the black man, and where and when is it to be attained?
Well, take equality first. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad doesn't teach us to associate equality with whites. Equality has nothing to do with whites. We don't want to be equal with the white man. He's not the criteria or yardstick by which equality is measured. He's not in a position to tell us we are equal. It's not his right. It's not his to do. Equality, we want equality. We had equality before the white man was created. We had equality before the white man came into existence. And we want equality whether the white man is on this earth or not. Equality means the opportunity to develop all of our dormant potential, all of our dormant capability. And in developing this dormant capability, the right and the ability to stand on this earth on some land of our own and bring about a civilization and a society in which we will be completely independent, complete freedom to take care of the needs, to take care of the wants and the likes and the dislikes of our people, to establish our
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.